TraumaCenter. Call any doctor's office after hours and they'll tell you to go to the ER if you're having a medical emergency. In theory, emergency rooms and trauma departments are a really good idea. Illnesses and injuries don't particularly respect office hours. In practice, well, there's no doubt they manage to save lives, and I understand they work in a high-stress environment and often have to make judgment calls on difficult situations. And look, anyone can misinterpret something. But did I miss a memo? Or is the trauma team supposed to resolve traumas rather than inflict them? Hi, I'm a 52-year-old mother of two, an artist, a Parkinson's disease advocate. I do some other things too. What does it matter? I'm disabled because Parkinson's disables folks, especially when you develop it in your 30s. I'm not a pill seeker, I don't have DTs, I don't drink. I have a neurological disorder. It puts me in specialist offices and hospitals almost every week. You would never catch me in any medical facility if I could possibly avoid doing so. But young onset PD is another way of saying unrelenting loss or uninvited guest. We've been over this so many times. Please listen this time. Those of us with neurological disorders fake being well. We don't fake being sick. Not one of us does this. Please don't make me say it again. People with advanced Parkinson's suffer imbalances and tend to fall a lot. We're not doing this to get attention or opioids, in case you were wondering. Sight gags aren't on purpose, though on occasion I might pretend that mine are because I'll do anything to avoid the ER. I don't want to worry my people either. One of the outcomes of falling a lot is bone damage, and in the past year, I've dealt with multiple hairline fractures in my pelvic region all around. But the pelvic region happens to be the area close to my bruised derriere that is also necessary for sitting, standing, and walking. You know, little things like that. You know, normal human activity. So let's just say I'm accustomed to a certain level of chronic pain, and it takes something genuinely scary to send me to a doctor after business hours. Can we just agree to accept that this is the truth? It's the truth. Ask my midwife if you need to, or my brain surgeon, or my children, or my boxing coach. I hate narcotics or any painkillers, primarily because the gut motility is a key to my PD meds crossing the blood-brain barrier. Without them, I have increasing dysarthria, rigidity, bradykinesia, slurring, confusion, aphasia, contortions from dystonia, all manner of lovely symptoms. I assume medical professionals might be aware of this. No? How naive I was to think that someone who took the Hippocratic Oath might even offer care. Recently, I started having symptoms of nerve damage in one leg. Pain, tingling, weakness, numbness, all of it. I've been in one absurdist hellhole after another. Ever since I had this deep brain stimulator device implanted into my substantia nigra, globus pallidus, when any part of my body malfunctioned, lately, anyway, I assume it's another bizarre manifestation of Parkinson's or another example of my brain implant going full on Torquemada on me for no discernible reason whatsoever. MDs tend to hover in their own silos, and they've punted my request for so long that I don't even know who to call for which thing, or which specialist does which specialty. On this particular day, I called every single MD on my care team. Everyone in my chart, because I didn't know who to call, begging for help. The office staff either never delivered messages, or maybe they were busy, or something. Sometime around midnight, I woke up in the scream out loud and kind of hip and back pain. I was unable to move. I passed out on the bathroom floor. My friend found me and got me to an emergency room. It turned out I had spinal cysts and herniated multiple discs, but it had nothing to do with the Parkinson's. I also had some degeneration in my spinal column. I was in significant danger of paralysis without emergency back surgery. But of course, I didn't know this at the moment. All I knew was that this was the worst pain I'd ever been in my life. That includes a lot of other things, like birth, twice, no meds. And I would happily have died to make it stop. Oh, spoiler, do not utter the phrase, "This is making me want to die," in an ER unless you're a huge fan of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Here's the thing. Bizarrely, the medical system has a conspicuous blind spot around disabled people. I showed a friend the copy of the triage notes. I demanded documentation of everything after this experience, just like anyone else would. Her immediate response was, "Why does this document not say advanced Parkinson's or have any mention of dystonia anywhere?" What a good question. Here are a few more questions that came up in the almost 500 minutes I spent praying for mercy. Why did the triage dude make me crawl to and from the gurneys by myself? Or, hey, how about, did this MD really just tell me to stop crying? Twice? Instead of asking why no one called a neurologist in 7 hours? Maybe 8? Or how about, why is this angry nurse glaring at me and yelling at my friends and not helping? See, when you're me and you're brought into an ER in excruciating, relentless pain, people look at you and decide to see an attention-seeking whore and not a person with a disabling chronic illness whose visible symptoms are easy to mistake for things like drunkenness. I know for a cold fact I'm not the only person out there with a neurological disease, and I'm genuinely not sure why the medical system would collectively disregard a large category of people that is only growing. I mean, it kind of has class action written all over it, doesn't it? Wow, local hospital, good thing I'm not litigious. Parkinson's is the fastest growing neurologic disease. At a rate of 1 person every 6 minutes, it's highly likely that one of the people who refused to help me in that very place might become aware of this in a very personal way. By the way, when that happens, don't forget to check my website for tips and tricks on living with an incurable progressive neurological disease. Also, good luck in the emergency room. Doesn't matter how many times you mention you have a disorder that causes weird facial expressions. Hilariously, one of the specific idiocies of the Parkinsonian mask is that it makes one look like Kim Kardashian doing that fake cry. You know, you're fake crying when you're actually crying. Add dehydration from crying for 18 hours and you can fill in what happened next. The dystonic fits that make you look like a tweaker. A tendency to slur or clutter words. And oh yeah, tremors, those are fun. Like you're being shaken from within. The nurses don't believe you, even if it's on your charts. Upshot? Well, you can show up in the ER in imminent danger of paralysis and be sent to lie on a gurney to detox for several hours. Detox from what? From Parkinson's? Oh, sweet Lord, please. Oh, yes, sign me up. Let's go. If you can detox from herniated discs and cysts that are pinching your spinal column, I'll take a ride on that gurney any day. But sadly, I did not detox from Parkinson's or nerve damage. What did happen was I peed my pants because I couldn't move and no one cared. The friend who'd hauled me in had to figure out how to clean me up. Look, I have the utmost respect for the nursing profession, but this? What kind of medical facility treats vulnerable, terrified human beings this way? Like ICE would have handled it with more dignity. Forget the fact that dismissing someone because you've pre-decided they're not really in pain can actually kill them, which has also nearly happened to me in the same hospital. Ask me about my exploding kidney sometime. That's right. You don't tell someone with a blocked ureter to continue to chug water to clear their kidney out. That's a big deal, ethically, legally, and in every other way. It's why malpractice insurance is a thing. What about human-to-human actual baseline decency? Hey, ER doctors, nurses, PAs, let's start over. You ready? Let me fix my hair. So I don't look so sweaty next time. Maybe I won't have any vomit down my front. Maybe I'll even be together. Hi, I'm Heather. I'm a person, a real live person. I praise medical workers. I've written about you endlessly, calling you fleet-footed angels. Did you miss that part? I love, cherish, and respect anyone who lives in service to others, like my daddy taught me. I've not committed a crime. I'm not trying to get high. I'm aware there's an opioid epidemic, and I'm sure you deal with detoxing addicts and alcoholics just about every shift. And I'm real sorry because that must be exhausting. Although, hey, at least your shifts end. Mine don't. Maybe your job has made you as numb as the outer half of my leg. Fingers crossed for both of us that that's from post-op swelling. But here's the deal. Your emergency room treats people with addictions as though they are rabid animals. I know this because your charge nurse repeatedly ignored my agony. I'll calm down. I've been sidelined each time I came in for help. Before this visit, when someone finally managed to deduce that I needed surgery, I'd been in several times, saying my leg was on fire. It was swollen. There was a Phillips head screwdriver in my hip. My back hurt. I needed scans for my hip. Something was wrong. My leg hurts. Each time I'm sent home by attending doctors who say, we don't need to know about Parkinson's because we don't get a lot of you people in here. Wow. Thanks, Doc, you young, bright fella. I remember you from last time. And the nurses and the support staff who act utterly indifferent. Remember every 6 seconds. As if I weren't a human being, who makes assumptions and snap judgments when lives are at stake? There's nothing in my chart about drug abuse. I've never done illegal drugs, if you must know. Not that it's any of your business, and not that it should matter. So where is the charge nurse even getting this idea? For that matter, why is she still employed? My case isn't unique. We all know this. I've heard tons of stories by now. So I have a radical suggestion for you. If you cannot set aside your arrogance, your disgust, your overwhelm, your fatigue, and your contempt for human frailty, get a new gig. I had a pretty extensive interview with someone from management before I was discharged. Maybe demanding copies of the records from this experience got their attention, or the fact that the entire 12 hours the charge nurse only wrote one word about my case, incontinence. That's a sign of spinal impingement, just saying. Anyway, even though my hours of embarrassing, uncontrollable wailing only generated demands that I suck it up, the management professionals remained stoic, distanced, and careful with my customer service feedback. Just about the time I was to be discharged, they circled the wagons a little more, speaking in soothing tones. Were they worried that they'd further disable me? Or that I might be inclined to sue them? And while that's about the only thing I could think of that might be less fun than Parkinson's itself, and I've already been solicited, that's not what I'm getting at here. From multiple sources, I was only offered a combination of passive-aggressive excuses for this behavior in the ER, assurances that I was misinterpreting someone else's behavior. Again, it's Parkinson's, not a low IQ. I wasn't the one who misinterpreted. I'm not interested in excuses. I do have a question. I would genuinely like to know why human beings are treated this way when they enter your emergency room or any emergency room. My case is not unique. Don't patients have the right to be informed of what's going on? Don't we have some right to be taken seriously? When an actual doctor finally examined me, his first words are, Jesus, I'm here now. No use crying over spilt milk. I didn't spill milk, Doc. I was terrified, humiliated, and suffering waves of dystonic fits because you left me in a room urinating on myself. I'd lost all motor function and prayed to die for longer than any of your nurses' shifts. Then you tell me to calm down and stop crying. I shouldn't have to explain to this doctor or any other. I should actually be examined before anyone decides I'm a pill seeker or a size extra, extra large drama queen or whatever else you have in your minds. That projection was deadly, or could have been. Is there a secret handshake I should memorize for future visits? Oh, yeah. Turns out latrogenic is a term for illnesses that are born in hospitals. They include everything from old school puerperal sepsis, like childbed fever, and MRSA, to adverse medication events, stuff like that. Well, congratulations, well-respected local hospital. You can add this latrogenic PTSD to your list of accomplishments. TraumaCenter. Thanks. Thanks for everything.